Hi everybody, Barbara here with another HSP TV. Today is the 19th episode of HSP TV and I know you haven't heard from me in a little while, and that's because I was on a spiritual health journey to Sri Lanka. I did an Ayurvedic Panchakarma, and that is part of what I want to talk to you about. So if you're watching today, please give out a shout. I will call out your name in the episode. And if you have any questions regarding this topic, you can also ask them of me and I will answer each question of you personally. Hi, Katerina. So nice of you to join today. Okay. The topic of today is how I almost ended up in a burnout again. The shame I felt about it, because I am a burnout expert. I am a highly sensitive expert. And even though I did everything that I always teach my clients, I still almost ended up in a burnout. And to actually say that out loud was a real, I felt ashamed about it. So that's a part of what I want to talk to you about today. Because even though you are doing everything right, even though you are breathing correctly, you're grounded, you do your meditations, you take really good care of yourself, it is still possible to end up in a burnout, because sometimes life gives you so much challenges that it's virtually impossible to keep standing. And that's what happened this year to me. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I also want to tell you about how I got out of it, the fears and the doubts that I had, and the really terrifying experience that I had while I was feeling like this, and all the things that I did to come out of that feeling again, because I think that a lot of you are experiencing the same things. And even though it's not very easy to talk about this, I think it's good to talk with you about these things so that you feel that you're not alone, and to maybe feel support, that I can support you, that you can support me. So this year it started out badly for me. I had friends that took advantage of me and then left me alone, and feeling very how should I describe it? I trusted them completely, and they screwed me over. Pardon my French, but that's what happened. And when you are highly sensitive, and the people that are watching that are highly sensitive, I'm sure that you can relate, but maybe also the people that are not highly sensitive that are watching, or that are watching this episode later, can relate, that when we create a friendship with someone, it is a deep and meaningful connection. I don't just call people my friends. And to me, friendship is being there for one another when times get tough and when times are nice. Always to be there, and I expect the same thing back. I'm always there for my friends, and I also want them to be there for me when my times are rough and when I really need a friend. And they took advantage of my good heart, the good person that I am, and that left me feeling very sad and very alone, and damaged in my faith in people. And that's basically how my year started. So not a really good start. And then at the end of February, beginning of March, in 2 weeks' time, I lost 5 people that meant the world to me. And that was blow after blow after blow after blow. And the first loss I experienced was my cat. And to me, my cats are like my children. So it felt like losing a child. And she was with me for 14 years, and she supported me through hard times, rough times, and she was always there. And losing her was very emotional for me. See, I become emotional when I talk about it. And 2 days later, my grandmother, with whom I was really, really close, died unexpectedly. And that also was a really big blow to me. I was very close with my grandmother. I visited her every 4 or 5 weeks, and I stayed over for a night. I helped her with all the technical problems, the computer problems. She was a very forward grandmother. She had an iPad and a laptop, and I often helped her with photos that she's taken or other stuff. So I was very close with her, and then both losing my cat, who was like my child, and then losing my grandmother, to whom I was very close. Those were both two devastating blows. And I think about 5 days later, I lost my brother and I lost my mother at the same time. And I think you can imagine how big of a blow that is, to not only lose your cat child, your grandmother, but also your brother and your mother. And at that time, I was still doing my breathing. I was doing my meditations. I was writing a lot about my pain, about my grief. I gave my pain and my grief room. I did all the correct things. And I think, again, 3-4 days later, I got the message that a really good friend of mine had committed suicide. And that was the final drop in my bucket. And I felt overwhelmed with the loss of everybody, and I just didn't know how to continue anymore. But I have my own company, and everybody that owns a one-man or one-woman business knows that you have to be there, you have to work, you have to show up, you have clients, you have responsibilities, you cannot cave. And I felt all that responsibility, but I also felt all that grief, all that loss. And it was a really difficult time that really asked a lot of me. And at the same time, I had a stalker, or I still have a stalker in my company. I'll tell you more about that in a different show. But the stalker decided to become active again in the period of all those losses. So it felt like blow after blow after blow after blow, and heavy blows, hard blows, things that hit me really, really hard. And there came a moment that I felt I just couldn't, I couldn't go on. I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt drained. I felt lost. I felt damaged. I felt alone. I didn't understand why so many things had to happen. I was angry. I was sad. I was so many emotions at the same time. And I'm hoping that you can relate when you hear this, even if you're not highly sensitive. And a friend of mine, one of the few that I had left, he saw in what shape I was, and he asked me to come and spend a couple of weeks in France with him to process things and to regain new energy. And I decided to do that. I booked my clients in different weeks, and I created a space to go and do that. And I went to France to spend some time with my friend and his mother. And that was both blessing and also harder, because his mother was there for me the way I had wanted my mother to be there for me. And she couldn't be there anymore because I had lost my mom. And yeah, it was nice to be there. It was nice to have his mom be there for me like my mom would have been. And I became sick. And that's logical, I think, because of everything that happened. Your immune system cannot handle it anymore. It's just too much. And I became sick, and they took really good care of me. And I'm still to this day very grateful to them for doing that. And then something happened, I think, at the end of that holiday that really scared the shit out of me. Pardon my friends again, but it really scared the living shit out of me. We were in the city, and we were walking home. We were walking to the grocery store because we needed to buy some groceries. And halfway through our walk, I started feeling not okay. I was lightheaded. I was dizzy. I was having trouble focusing. I couldn't keep the pace anymore, so I started walking slower and slower. And finally, we came to the supermarket, and my friend, he did all the shopping because I at that time I couldn't focus anymore. I could hardly say anything, and that already was scary. And then he took me back to his apartment, and I lay down because I really wasn't feeling that good, or I was actually feeling really, really lousy. I still feel the need to downplay it, but I was feeling really shitty at that moment. So I decided to lie down and to see if that would help. And then the next moment I became aware that I was present in my body. I could hear everything. I could hear the cars go by. I could hear him doing the dishes in the kitchen and later vacuuming and other things. I could hear everything, but I was no longer able to control my body. I could not move my legs. I could not move my arms. I could not open my eyes. I could not speak. So I felt trapped in my body, and I wasn't able to call out. I wasn't able to move, but I was aware of everything happening around me. And I remember that I kept thinking that he must think that I'm sleeping or something, but I wasn't. I was awake and I was screaming inside my head, but I couldn't get my voice out. I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I couldn't shout. Only everything happened in my head. And that was so scary. I cannot describe how scary that feeling was. And there was a moment that he thought I needed to wake up because we were about to have lunch, and he sat down next to me. I was aware of that. I could feel him touching me, but I was not able to respond to his touches. I was not able to wake up. I was not able to say anything, but he was insistent, and he shaked me, he touched me, he talked to me, and I could hear everything. I could feel it, but I still couldn't move. And it took, I think, 10 minutes at least for him to be able to talk to me, to touch me, to shake me before I could get out of it. And it was like 1 minute you cannot do anything, and the next minute I awoke. I could move. I could talk again. And then I started crying, of course, because it was a really terrifying experience. And at that moment, I realized how badly I was doing, how bad off I was, how serious I had to take these complaints, these feelings. And I talked with him about it, about feeling like I was maybe in a burnout again or very close to a burnout, and also about my shame in admitting that, because I was supposed to be the expert. I was supposed to be the one that knew everything about burnout and burnout prevention and also burnout recovery. And still here I was on the edge of a burnout. And yeah, it's still not easy for me to say this to you. So this is also the first time I've said it out loud in a live broadcast. It took me this long to be able to admit it to you guys live in a broadcast like this. And I took it seriously. I took this episode seriously. Nobody could find what was wrong with me, but some people told me that this happens with people in a burnout or on the edge or verge of a burnout, and that it was not uncommon. And I decided that things had to change. So I started working less in my company. I decided to only work half days and to really listen even more to my body than I was already doing, and to give myself the space to sleep as much as I needed. And I really needed a lot of sleep at that moment. So I didn't work in the mornings anymore. I slept 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, until I woke up naturally. And I was still able to combine this with my clients, thank God. And I was still able to be there when I needed to be there for them. But it still took a lot of my energy. And that was the moment I thought, okay, I need to do more, but it's really hard to get out of a situation like this and to process everything when you're still also responsible for your company and the well-being of your clients in your company. And then I came across the Ayurveda Panchakarma, and that's what I did these last weeks in Sri Lanka. And for those of you who do not know what Ayurveda is the Indian healthcare, like acupuncture and Chinese medicine are it for China. Ayurveda is it for India and Sri Lanka. And an Ayurvedic Panchakarma is a spiritual health trip in which you go to an Ayurvedic clinic and you are under the supervision of a doctor. You get special medicine, you get special treatments, and everything is directed at rebalancing your doshas. Ayurveda says there are 3 main doshas. One is called Vata, one is called Pitta, and one is called Kapha. And when all 3 are in balance, then you are feeling okay. And when there is a disbalance in your doshas, it's what they call them, then you are experiencing problems. And I am a Pitta Kapha. I'm a combined dosha. And for me, my Kapha was the most out of balance. So all the treatments were focused on rebalancing my Kapha dosha. You got special massages, head packs, face packs, steam treatments, sauna treatments, but also they call it Shirodhara, and then they pour hot oil over your head and they do it 3 or 4 days in a row, and you need to wear a special cap, and you cannot shower, and you cannot go in the wind, and you need to take special teas. And there was a bowel cleaning day, which I cannot recommend, or maybe the effects, but the day itself was horrible. But I kept telling myself it's for a good cause, it's to get better, and that's what it really did. It helped me to get better. It helped me to let go of everything, and a lot of everything came out. A lot of grief came out, a lot of anger came out, but also a lot of tiredness. I think I slept for 13, 14 hours every day, and then also during the day, and after dinner I felt tired again, and I thought I'm doing absolutely nothing, and I'm tired all day, the entire day. And I decided to give myself, to surrender myself to what they told me that I needed to do. I have not touched my telephone, my iPad, not looked at my email or did anything that connected me to the outside world during my Ayurveda Panchakarma. And I didn't want to. I wanted to focus solely on me, to get better, to feel good again, to become positive, to regain the positive energy. And it worked. It worked wonderfully. I have so many love and so many gratitude and thanks to all the people there in the center that helped you, that helped me to regain myself again, to feel like myself again. Now I can honestly say I am doing okay again. I feel relaxed, maybe for the first time this year. I feel happy. I feel positive. I am happy in my skin. I have renewed energy. I really feel like I can face the world again. So if you can relate to my story, maybe a small part of it, maybe every part of it, know there is a way out. Hi Marjan, nice of you to join. There's a way out. You don't have to go through it alone. If you do not feel comfortable talking here in this live broadcast with me about it, then please contact me privately. You can email me at info@tobeimbalance.com, or you can find my telephone number on my website, www.beimbalance.com. And I encourage you to talk to me about the things that you're going through, because I also found that while I was there, I made friends with everybody that was doing the Panchakarma as well. And it is so important to have people that understand you, that know what you're going through, and that support you, and that give you love and a hug or an embrace or encouraging words. That also made a really big difference. So to anybody that was there with me for the Ayurveda Panchakarma, thank you for being there, and thank you for being part of my recovery. I think for now, today, this is my story. This is what happened. This is how I almost ended up in my burnout. This is the shame I felt. These were the doubts I had, the thoughts that went through my head. And these are also the things that I did to get out of them, to get out of the burnout again, and to feel like myself again. And the biggest lesson I think that I took away from this is that sometimes life gives you too much. And they always say that life doesn't give you more than you can handle. And I think to some degree that that's true, because I'm still here. I handled it, but it was so much that even though you're doing everything right, even though you're doing all the techniques, I learned all the techniques that I'm learning my clients, it was still too much to combine everything that was happening in my personal life, all the major, huge losses I faced, with being there in my company, being there for my clients. And there's no shame anymore for me in admitting this. I am human like you. I am high sensitive like most of you that are watching today, I think. And these things happen. And the most important thing is that you admit it to yourself that it's happening, and that you then take inspired action to get yourself out of it. And if you don't know what that action should be, then also please contact me and let me help you to take the steps necessary for you to feel like yourself again, to be happy again, to have energy again, because that is where I am now. And I am incredibly proud that I have come this far, that I've learned this much, and I would be even prouder if I could help you achieve the same. So again, email me if you want help, or email me if you want to talk. It's info@beimbalance.com. And everybody that was here and that was watching, and everybody that will watch the replay, thank you for being there. Thank you for your attention. And I hope to see you again next week. Bye.